Yes.
I was going to say, can it be done meeting by meeting that you?
Generally, we recommend against that because you need time to develop the skills. It could be, it doesn't have to be 3 years, it could be 3 months, but it's most groups do it like for 6 months or a year. They'll usually do it shorter to start with, and then as people get some skills. Okay, so I'll take, actually, let me hold on. I want to give the group reporter in this group, that's Mark, a chance to give your report. And now what I didn't say is that the report is 1 minute. I'm going to time it. So you get to list your questions in 1 minute.
1 minute. So the original questions were the difference between consent and consensus.
Wait a second. Hold on a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. I have to. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So the question was the difference between consent and consensus. Whether it was possible to have no top link.
No top.
Whether it's possible to have no top link. Who's making which decision in policy versus operational decisions? How does it differ when there are no departments? How would you apply this in smaller organizations with fewer levels?
Okay. So, no top link, say that one different ways. I'm not sure what that means.
So just not having a top link, so like in an intentional community or
Oh,
something.
not a
like
top
that.
circle.
Yeah,
The
not
link
top
refers,
circle, right.
the link,
Oh,
the link is
is
a people.
right.
The
Yeah,
person.
not having a top
Yes,
circle.
there are intentional communities that do not have top circles. In my consulting group, actually, we don't have a top circle yet. We're about to form one. I do recommend. You beat the 1 minute. Let's have a hand for this group. Nice and succinct. There are advantages of having a top circle, so let me talk about that very briefly. The top circle's job, in part, is to link the organization to the external environment. And there are external members of the top circle. So suppose you have 4 external members. Whatever expertise you need on your boards, like you might, if it's a community, you might want somebody with real estate expertise. You might want somebody with legal expertise. You might want somebody with financial expertise. Whatever it is that you, and you might want somebody who just knows the community very well and all the organizations and the people around there to help you with your relations with them. Those are external members. The interesting thing about having a top circle is that sometimes when there's all kinds of strife in an organization, they'll put in a top circle and the strife will disappear almost overnight. There's something about having a guest present that we tend to be at our best behavior, and it's bringing in a perspective from the outside. So it tends to be very useful, but not all organizations have it. So that's one top. Which decisions? So that's the decisions was between operational and policy?
Yeah, I think that was the question because I think it was kind of answered in the sense that linked circles, the department heads wouldn't be involved in the operational, or in the department heads would be involved in all meetings, the policy meetings and the operational meetings.
Yes.
But the general circle would not be involved in the operational meetings, right?
Correct.
Just the top circle.
No, the operational meeting for the general, of course, like the general circle is the department heads and the CEO.
Right.
And then for the policy meetings, you have these links.
Right.
Does that answer that question?
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay. No departments, in other words, it's just one group?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's related to the question of the smaller organizations. When our consulting group started, we started with 6 people. We're now up to, we just accepted our 10th member, our 9th member, not accepted our 10th. And it took us a while to figure out what our circle structure that made sense. Once we put it into place, even though we were just 6 people at that point, all of a sudden we started getting work done. Most people were in multiple circles. The same people might be at different meetings, but it gave us a focus. We knew what hat we were wearing, we knew what our authority was, what our responsibility is. So it doesn't, in any size organization, it works and it's scalable. So consent, the difference between consent and consensus is like,
I believe that was a question.
so we're not trying to make, we're not looking for agreement. We actually want to surface the objections, so because that's used to then improve the proposal. That's a longer workshop. I'll give you some references so you can read about it. But there's a whole process for collecting the, once we have the objections, to how to use that to improve the proposal, and the proposal will improve it. So we want to know the problems up front so that we can problem solve. It's going to save us a lot of money. I don't know if that answers the question. Okay. Diana Leaf Christian, people in the community may know Diana Leaf Christian. Diana Leaf Christian is a recent member of the Sociocracy Consulting Group, and she lives in an eco-village in North Carolina. She travels all, she's written a couple books about intensive communities and travels all over the world giving workshops. And she has started now teaching sociocracy. She has a whole series of articles about why consent is better than consensus for intentional communities. If you look on her website, dianaleafchristian.org, one or two of them is there. She'll give you.
Can you write down that list?
Yeah. What did you say? Yeah. Okay, so there was one more question.
What comment?
Yeah.
Can I make? Would you?
Yes,
would you
please.
mind?
This is Roger Studley, who has taken some of our training and is starting to use sociocracy and is forming co-housing.
So I had a comment about the distinction between consent and consensus. Notice when you did the election, you went around and people were asked not do you consent to this person, but do you have any objections? And that's a subtle distinction. But if it's consensus where you can block, then it's on the group to have to satisfy the person blocking. But when you have to voice an objection, it's actually on the individual to have to satisfy the group that the objection is valid. And that makes a huge difference in getting past these things where people may want to stop the process.
Right. I heard a very funny story about that. So Gerard Annenberg developed this method in the Netherlands. The person who brought it to this country is John Buck, who wrote this book. And he's part of my consulting group, and I learned the method from him. He's in India right now for about a month and a half, traveling all over the country giving workshops in India. And the first workshop, there was a lot of confusion and resistance to the objections around. Somebody finally told him the word in Hindi that is closest to objection is kind of like giving somebody the finger. So they went back to asking for consent rather than asking for objections, but that's unusual. Okay, so I'll stick around afterwards for questions. As I say, this is a 2 or 3 day workshop. Let me just make a couple comments and about where to go from here. So this yellow, I'll just put these out and people, well, I'll put them over the table, people can pick them up. So this is a list of resources. And, I'm giving another, you can sign up for a free half-hour consultation with me about your organization, or talk to me if you'd like to organize a workshop for your organization or community. And I'm giving 2 workshops in the next few weeks in Richmond, one at the Richmond Chamber of Commerce and the other at the Point Business Richmond Association. Point Richmond Business Association, a lunchtime presentation. So if you know somebody who wasn't here tonight, who'd like to go, and there are some links at the bottom, and including a link to our Sociocracy Consulting Group website, and there's articles there and case studies. There's a link to the book if you want to buy the book. I brought some tonight. And there's also an online class in Foundations of Sociocracy. The next one is starting in March, early March. And it's offered in several different times of the day because people from time zones all over the world take these classes. So to be accessible to all parts of the world, there's a choice of when to do it. This blue form is if you would like me to contact you about your organization, or for a free consultation, fill this out. There's a questionnaire about your organization at the top. I did this for another purpose, but it's fun to do, so if you want to fill that out, but for sure fill out the bottom part. And there was one other, I think, it's these two. Oh, I know, there's, yes. This is a flyer for the one at the Richmond Chamber of Commerce. It's an hour-and-a-half workshop, 45 minutes workshop on February 9th. So if you know somebody that you want to tell about that, you can get the link to it is on the yellow sheet, but this is the flyer. When we help an organization implement the method, there's a lot of consulting and coaching involved to help them set up their circle structure, to coach the circle meetings after they've had their training, so that until they're really confident to know what they're doing, to help them evaluate how it's working for them and figure out what changes they want to make. Golly, I wish we had more time. Let me hear from 3 people. What's something that you're taking away from this? Let me see 3 hands in the air. That's 1, 2. Is there a 3rd person? Okay, so.
I work at 3 Star Hearth, where we've been using Holacracy for at least a couple of years. And the biggest difference that I noticed here that I really want to bring back for us to look at is that any policies, any governance that you enact includes a metric and a review process. So stuff doesn't just die on the vine. Everyone's like, It's like, okay, did it work? No, it's not working. Let's revisit it. That feels like a really nice part of the dynamic steering thrust of this way of operating.
Okay, good. What was number 2? Yes.
I like is it safe enough to try, sort of like, well, let's try it and see what happens, and we can come back to it in a short period of time.
I like how this really looks like it would increase accountability and the level of buy-in that people have in the decisions that are made and where the organization is going and what it does.
It absolutely does. Was there one more takeaway that somebody wanted to say? I will just say, if you're interested in for your organization, please get some training. Please work with a consultant. It doesn't have to be me. There are groups that do it DIY, and there are drawbacks to that. They can, because there's a lot more to implementation than the training, and it's
Well, let's all give Sheila a round of applause.